Though I am a professional driver, I am not a certified driver's education teacher. My goal is to share my experience and hopefully put safer drivers on the road with me. However, I'm only human, and your decisions are ultimately your own. Blue Forge Films, The Road to Safety, and me, Ty Smith, cannot be held liable for your own actions. Take responsibility and be safe.
How's it going, everybody? Ty Smith here, yet again with another episode of The Road to Safety. Now, instead of me talking frantically, getting flustered over nothing, let's just, drop a gear and cruise on down to old, bitter ranting. So, with this little story time, I'd like to talk about semis. Know what they are and know what their stopping distance is. Just, have respect for these big rigs out there. Because, as most of you know by now, I'm a professional driver and I drive these for a living. And there's so many people out there that just have no idea of the imminent danger they put themselves in. Like there was one time I was driving to a job site on I-5 northbound. We were doing some highway work there. And I was in the middle lane trying to catch up to somebody else trying to follow out there because I've never been out there before. But what happened was that I was, putting along 65 miles an hour and here comes this black, I don't know, Toyota Corolla or Prius or something. But what happened was that they just cut in front of me and slammed on the brakes. And I'm loaded with water. So I'm about, say, 75, 80,000 pounds. Good thing this was a new truck and had good brakes. I mean, I was braking as hard as I safely could. If he braked any harder, and if I would have had to brake any harder, there was a chance I was going to drill him. And that's, insane because semis can't stop on a dime. I know that everybody has said it time and time again, but it's true. And people keep on saying it because people keep on cutting in front of it like it's just going to go, That's just not the case. And I mean, eventually they got the idea of, ooh, this is not a smart idea, and then moved over to the right-hand lane. But I mean, I lost a lot of speed, I lost a lot of gears, and I sort of had to restart and go, you dumb son of a gun. And yeah, trucker rage is real. It's stressful driving those things out there because, there's automatics out there and then there's manuals, which I drive a manual usually. And instead of a 5-speed or a 6-speed, I've got 18 speeds to worry about, and I've got a non-synchro transmission. And what that means is that you have to match engine RPM with the ground speed of that gear. So you can't just put it in a gear and take off. No, you have to find sort of the sweet spot of where you're at, what gear you want. And it takes practice, but you eventually get there. But you still have to put it back into gear and gain all that energy that you lost. And plus you done no favors for the brake linings because that is definitely hard on them, just braking heavy like that. Another thing to point out is that there are some modern trucks that have front disc brakes and then they've got drums for the back. But those drum brakes, they get dangerous once they get hot because metal expands when it gets hot. And a drum moves with the wheel, and when you depress the brake pedal, there are brake shoes that press out against this drum. But when the drum gets hot, metal expands to the point where the brake shoes can no longer reach this drum. And then all of a sudden, oh my god, I've got no brakes. That's why you see truck runoff ramps going down hills, because there are certain times when people smoke their brakes and they cannot stop. Sometimes they're lucky enough to get to a ramp. There's other times they end up putting it into the ditch or something because they get spooked. So keep that in mind once you cut off a semi truck, because you don't know that hard braking maneuver, all of a sudden that truck may lose braking efficiency and will slam right into you. Or if you just hit the brakes with all you can, you're gonna get hit. There's no question about it, because you may weigh 2,000, 2,500 pounds, maybe more, maybe less. These guys weigh 80,000 pounds and they're usually grossed out. What I mean by grossed out is that they're at their legal weight limit, around 80,000 pounds. That's around the average legal weight limit for a semi-truck. And you cut in front of these trucks and slam on the brakes, you give these guys no chance. And it sucks. It really does. Give these guys room, and if you see them with a 7-second or more following distance, there's usually a reason, because that's the distance where they can safely stop. And if you cut into that braking distance, it's like they're not sort of letting you in by choice. They have that gap there for their own safety. and for the safety of others. Because these are big, heavy trucks, and if they're not driven right, they are very dangerous. There are more than a few cases where people lost their lives because a semi-truck rammed into the back of their car at speed. There was a family, I believe, a while back that lost their 2 kids because a semi-truck driver wasn't paying attention and slammed into the back of their car. It was sad because I believe it was one of the kids' birthday. I don't exactly remember the details of the story, but that's just a taste of what could happen. So don't gamble with your life, because that guy in the semi-truck, he's not going to get hurt. It's you. So be safe. Be smart. So this other story is, I was in a old Mack 18-wheeler, if that makes any sense. It was old, it was tired, it was a little worse for wear, but this truck was still running. And I was driving this for my job, and I had a water tanker on it. It was full of about 3,500 to 4,000 gallons worth of water. And so I was going up Tiger Mountain. Can't remember which direction, but I was heading to I-90 from Tiger Mountain, so then I can go westbound eastbound that time. I don't know where I'm going with directions. I'm dyslexic. Because you don't need a doctor to diagnose you with it. You can just claim that you have it. Voila, you have it. So I was heading eastbound on I-90, but I was going up the last hill of Tiger Mountain before you hit the interstate. So I was in the truck lane. I was doing about 25 miles per hour. That's all this truck could do. And it's like, all right, well, just sit down and putt up this hill. But what happened was that after you crest that hill, that truck lane ends and you have to scoot over. And I was looking over in my mirror because I was trying to find myself a gap still. And because the rule of thumb is make sure you have your window before you need it. Or the lovely rule that I always have, always leave yourself an out. Now, I was heading up this hill about 25, 30 miles per hour, and there's this white van. I think it had a ladder on it. I'm not entirely sure. It's been a while. But he was sort of behind the truck in the left-hand lane. He wasn't trying to pass or anything, but he was like right behind the trailer. And I was wondering why he wasn't trying to pass me or anything, but I figured, okay, well, I guess he'll let me in once we crest the hill. But once we crested the hill, I was running out of lane, so I was trying to scoot over. So I got my turn signal on, but all of a sudden this van decides to go, you know what, I don't want to be behind this slowpoke. And like, instead of stomping on the throttle and zooming by, he meanders on the throttle like a grandmother going to the church house on a Sunday morning. So he's sort of trying to inch past. I don't have the power to out-accelerate him. And if I moved over, I would have punted him into live traffic because I'm heavier than him. So the only thing that I could do was slam on the brakes and lay on the air horn, just so then that he could get the idea to step on that skinny pedal a little harder. So there's an edge to this road and there's no guardrail. And I ended up driving on the shoulder for about like good 200 to 300 feet, just letting this guy go. And it was intense because if I went down that ditch, I was dead. And I was just sort of saying to myself, man, if you kill me, I'm coming back to haunt you. But the main point of that story is be aware of what's around you. Be aware of the semi-trucks. Be aware of their limitations. And even though that you want to be road warrior and be ahead of every single semi there is, sometimes it's better just to drop back and let him in, so then that you're not putting him into that dangerous situation. Because there's just times that happens, where he's supposed to merge, but there's no real clear window, so he sort of has to muscle his way in. But it's just way better, way easier, way nicer if you give these semis room. That's pretty much my whole point here, is just give these guys room. Thank you all very much for watching and or listening to The Road to Safety. Once again, my name's Ty Smith, and if you really like what we're doing here, please leave me a like and make sure you subscribe, so that way my studio knows that, I'm doing something right and I'm not wasting everybody's time. And if you'd like to see more of just me sitting down talking about my past experience, make sure you leave it in the comments below. See you next time.